The movie opens with a young couple, both tourists, left behind by their group after oversleeping. The girl's name is Hyder, and they've arrived in Australia for a visit. Spotting an opportunity, they head straight to the seaside for the thrilling Shark Edge experience, diving into a cage submerged in the ocean to come face to face with sharks up close. The man running the operation is Tucker, who's branded it the Tucker Experience. He's not around at first, so they chat with one of his buddies, who explains that Tucker's taking a few days off to rest and won't be guiding anyone. But just then, Tucker himself shows up, bursting with energy and grinning wide. "How could I miss out on this?" he says with a laugh. "I'll make sure you both get the full thrill." He ushers them onto his boat and sets off into the open sea, the waves rocking gently beneath them. As they glide along, Tucker opens up about his past. "Back in my childhood," he shares, his voice steady but eyes distant, "I survived a shark attack, made it out alive, but look, the scars are still here." He rolls up his sleeve, revealing the jagged marks on his skin, faded but unmistakable. "From that day on, I felt this weird bond with sharks, like they're part of me now." Hyder listens, her face softening with empathy. "I get it," she says softly. "That must have been terrifying. Surviving something like that and then choosing to work right alongside them? Anyone else would have sworn off the ocean forever." Tucker shakes his head, chuckling low. "Nah, it's not their fault. Sharks are just doing what comes natural." With that, he chums the water with blood to draw them in, then lowers the couple into the cage. Sharks circle hungrily, their massive forms gliding so near you could almost touch the bars. The pair watches in awe, hearts pounding with excitement. They learn quick that as long as you stay calm, no panicking, no thrashing, the sharks keep their distance. No attacks, just that raw electric closeness. When they finally surface soaked and exhilarated, they're beaming, thanking Tucker profusely as they climb out, ready to head back to shore. But as they're about to leave, Tucker's face twists into something dark, his eyes gleaming with malice. In a flash, he lunges, stabbing Hyder's friend in the neck with a swift, brutal motion, then hurls his body back into the churning waves. Blood blooms in the water like ink. Hyder screams, a raw, piercing cry that echoes across the empty sea. "Help! Somebody please!" But out here, miles from anywhere, her voice vanishes into the wind. Tucker turns to her slowly, that devilish smile curling his lips, cold and predatory. What he does to her next? The screen fades to black, leaving it hanging in the air like a shadow. Cut to a different shore where we meet the real heart of the story. An American girl named Jeff, fierce and free-spirited, slicing through the waves on her surfboard. She rides them like they're old friends, carving elegant arcs before paddling back to the beach, salt water dripping from her hair, a satisfied grin on her face. She pulls up to a nearby gas station, still buzzing from the surf, when her beat-up car sputters and dies. That's when she spots a guy, an undercover agent, though she doesn't know it yet, fiddling with his own stalled ride. He flashes a charming smile and asks for a hand. Jeff lives in this massive camper van, her rolling home on wheels, but she's the type who guards her solitude like treasure. "Sorry, not really set up for passengers," she says, firmly, shaking her head. He keeps at it, though, polite but persistent with that easy laugh, and before she knows it, she's relenting. "Fine, hop in, just a lift, okay?" As they rumble down the coastal road, conversation flows like the tide. Turns out they both live for the rush of surfing, trading stories of epic swells and wipeouts. Sparks fly, quiet at first, then undeniable. By the time they pull up outside his place, they're laughing like they've known each other forever, already planning the next wave. Eager to stretch the moment, they park the van right there on the street and settle in for the evening, sharing snacks, talking dreams under the stars peeking through the windshield. Jeff's new friend even tosses out an old rag used for waxing surfboards, letting it flitter away in the breeze like a careless afterthought. But he's all in now, his eyes serious and hopeful. "Jeff," he says, leaning close, "this feels like fate, We should make it real. Live together, chase waves side by side." She hesitates, that wild streak kicking in. Jeff's not one for roots. She thrives on the road, never lingering too long in one spot. She doesn't even step inside his house with him. Instead, he heads in alone to whip up some dinner, humming to himself. When he comes back out, plate in hand, the van's gone, tires crunching gravel as she drives off into the night. His face crumples, heartbreak hitting like a rogue wave, and he stands there, staring at the empty spot, whispering his name to the dark. Undeterred, Jeff heads straight back to the beach at dawn, the pull of the ocean too strong to ignore. She grabs her board but realizes she's short on fins, the crucial bits that keep her steady on the water. Her friend had chucked the spares without thinking. No big deal. She rummages in a nearby truck for a quick borrow. It's Tucker's rig, parked crooked in the lot. And wouldn't you know, he rolls up right behind her, engine growling low. He hands over the fins with a friendly nod, but his questions dig deeper during their chat, slipping in casually, like bait on a hook. You out here solo, or got company tagging along? He leans in, voice smooth. It's the same trick he pulled on Hyder and his guy, prying out that their group had ditched them, leaving them ripe for the taking. Jeff senses the edge in his tone, but plays it cool, dodging with vague smiles. Just me and the waves, she says lightly, not giving an inch. It irks him, his jaw tightens, that smile cracking just a hair, and he climbs back into his truck, peeling out with a spray of sand. Moments later, her phone buzzes. A text from the agent guy. Sweet and pleading, come back, let's talk. I miss you already. Her thumb hovers over the call button, heart tugging hard. She wants to, oh, she really does, but she swallows it down, types a quick no and hits send. Biggest mistake of her life, because that's when Tucker circles back, silent as a shadow. He grabs her from behind in a blur, clamping a rag over her mouth until her struggles fade and she slumps unconscious. He bundles her limp form into the truck like cargo, then drives for what feels like hours, the coastline blurring by. Finally, he hauls her onto his boat and shoves off into the deep, the engine's drone fading into the horizon. Come morning, her friend tracks her down to the beach, worry gnawing at him. The van's there, abandoned, but no sign of Jeff, just the board propped inside, looking forlorn. He dials her number, heart in his throat. The ring echoes from within the van itself. Clever bastard Tucker. He'd chucked the phone in there on purpose, staging it all to scream accident. A surfer lost to the sea, drowned and gone. Meanwhile, out on the endless blue, Jeff stirs awake in a dim, rocking space, the cramped hold below Tucker's boat. Her mouth gagged with rough cloth, wrists bound tight to the bed frame, the air thick with salt and fear. She thrashes, muffled screams bubbling up, eyes wild as she takes it in. On the bunk beside her, another girl, Hyder, lies tied the same way, pale and hollow-eyed. Jeff's cries echo uselessly against the hull. Out here, in the middle of nowhere, the sea swallows every sound. Hyder finally stirs, her voice a weary whisper through the gag. Save it, she mutters. No one's coming. I tried. Desperate, Jeff scans the shadows for anything, a hairpin, a shard of glass, to pick the locks. Nothing. Her gaze snags on the wall, though, scratched into the wood, faint but deliberate, a girl's name from some victim before them. It hits Jeff like ice water. She freezes, breath-catching. Another one, trapped and hopeless, carving her story as a final act before giving up. The realization sinks in, heavy and cold. Jeff fights anyway, twisting and straining against the ropes until her muscles scream, every ounce of her surfer's grit poured into the effort. Hyder just watches, limp and resigned. She's been through it all, exhausted every trick, and now she slumps back defeated, staring at the ceiling with empty eyes. Up on deck, oblivious and smug, Tucker lounges in the sun, reeling in fish with lazy pulls of the line, whistling a tuneless melody to the gulls. Down below, Jeff turns to Hyder, forcing words through the gag in a ragged plea. Anyone looking for you? Someone who'll notice you're gone? Hyder's eyes flicker with a ghost of pain. "There was a boy with me back on shore," she murmurs, voice breaking just a little.
Hader's voice cracks a little as she finishes, her eyes distant with grief. He just had to find me. But something awful happened to him right here on this boat. Jeff's stomach twists. She doesn't need to ask what. It's clear Tucker got to him too. Just like everything else out here screams danger. Then Hader turns the question back, her whisper urgent through the gag. "What about you? Will someone come looking?" Jeff swallows hard, thinking of the agent guy, that spark they'd shared. They might have, but not anymore. I pushed him away. Up on the shore, though, her friend hasn't let go. He's pacing the beach, mind racing in circles, replaying their last moments, the way she'd driven off without a word. Confusion knots tighter when he spots a tow truck hauling Jeff's van away like it's just another abandoned wreck. That's her home on wheels, he mutters to himself, heart sinking. Where the hell is she without it? Worry boils over. He bolts to the police station, filing a report, then dives into the search himself, phoning contacts, scanning every stretch of coast he can think of. Down in the hold, night drags on like a nightmare. Jeff wrestles with the ropes till her wrists are raw, sweat stinging her eyes, but nothing gives. Finally, she slumps against the bunk, breath ragged, despair settling in like fog. That's when her gaze snags on Hader's clothes, a thin wire glinting from the hem of her shirt, overlooked in the dim light. Heart pounding, Jeff inches closer, fumbling to snag it with her bound hands. She's twisting it into the lock when footsteps thud above, heavy, deliberate. Tucker descends with a tray of stale bread and murky water, his shadow looming like a storm cloud. The room's a sweatbox, air thick and stifling, so Hader snatches the water first, gulping it down while clutching the thin sheet over herself like a shield. Tucker's eyes narrow, suspicion flickering as he steps closer, reaching for the edge of the fabric. But Jeff jumps in, voice sharp and demanding, "Hey, give me my damn food, I'm starving here." She grabs the cup, downs it in one desperate pull, drawing his glare her way. He lingers, muttering threats under his breath. "Keep pushing and you'll see what happens," before stomping back up, the door slamming like a gunshot. The second he's gone, Jeff dives back to the wire, fingers trembling as she works the cuff. Click, almost there, freedom so close she can taste it. But then dizziness hits like a wave crashing over her, eyelids drooping heavy, the world blurring at the edges. Damn it, the water. He'd spiked it with something, anesthesia to keep them docile. She fights it, jaw clenched, but the darkness wins. Both girls slump unconscious, the wire clattering to the floor. When Jeff comes to, groggy and aching, she's hauled up top, lashed to a rickety chair on the deck, salt spray whipping her face. Across from her, Hader dangles from a harness, straps biting into her skin, body limp but alive. For now. Tucker's rigged a camera on a tripod, lens cold and unblinking, framing them like props in his twisted game. "Lights, camera, action," he drawls with a sick grin, calling it all a shoot. He grabs scissors, snipping chunks of Hader's hair in ragged clumps, letting them flutter into the wind. His ramblings spill out, wild and feverish. "God ain't up in the sky, he's down there in the deep. Sharks see, they're the real divine. Humans, we're the monsters, slaughtering them without a second thought." He paces, eyes lit with mania, then chums the water with fresh blood, the metallic tang drawing shadows beneath the boat. Sharks breach the surface, fins slicing the waves like knives. With a yank on the rope, Tucker lowers Hader into the frenzy, blood from a fresh cut on her arm trailing like a beacon. She thrashes above the surface, screams muffled by the gag, panic rippling through her. It's all it takes. One shark lunges, jaws snapping in a blur of teeth and fury. It tears into her, ripping her apart in a spray of red, upper body wrenching free from the lower in one brutal twist. Her death throes echo, a gurgling cry cut short as the camera captures every horrific second. Jeff watches, frozen in terror, bile rising her throat, tears streaming hot down her cheeks. While Tucker's distracted, gloating over the footage, she twists just enough to scratch their names into the nearby bulkhead. Jeff and Hader, joining a wall scarred with dozens more faded names layered like ghosts. Not two, not three, countless girls, each one a victim etched in desperation. Tucker's no lone madman. He's a serial killer, preying on solo tourists, their brutal ends preserved on shelves of tapes upstairs, each labeled with a lock of hair from the dying. Hader's joins the collection, fresh and damning, and Jeff knows hers is queued up next. Out in the water, what's left of Hader bobs, torso severed, drifting limp, a gut-wrenching sight that twists the knife deeper. Back on the beach, her friend wanders the surf at dusk, waves lapping at his feet, when he spots her board washed up, fins snapped like brittle bones. Panic surges. All her gear is scattered here, board, wax rag, yet no sign of her. "Jeff, where are you?" he calls into the fading light, voice breaking. Night falls heavy, and Tucker slinks below deck again, tray in hand, water and bread for the star of his next reel. But Jeff's fire hasn't dimmed, rage boils up, and she lashes out with a bound foot, kicking the tray flying, food and liquid splattering across the floor. "You think you're some shark god, huh? Newsflash, you're no shark, you're a worm, a slimy, crazy little worm." Tucker's face darkens, fury flashing, but he storms off without a word, slamming the hatch behind him. Alone now, Jeff's mind races. She eyes the spilled bucket nearby, wedging it against the chair leg and grinding until it cracks, fashioning a jagged shard into a makeshift shank, sharp enough to draw blood. She knows he'll be back. Guys like him always circle round. Smart, too. She hadn't touched the water this time, so when he returns with a syringe full of knockout juice, needle glinting, she's ready. He lunges close, and she strikes, driving the point deep into his neck. He reels back, gurgling, eyes wide in shock as he crumples. Jeff snatches the keys from his belt, fumbling with shaking hands to unlock the ropes, then bolts, heart hammering, bare feet pounding the deck. But he's faster than he looks. The needle grazes her calf, poison burning through her veins. She staggers up anyway, lunging for the radio. "Mayday! Help, anyone?" Static crackles back, dead air. Desperation claws at her. In the distance, lights bob on another boat, music and laughter drifting faint. She screams till her throat is raw. "Over here! Help me!" waving wildly. But the party is too loud, voices drowning her out over the waves. Tucker's gaining, footsteps thumping behind, cursing low. Spotting his precious camera, Jeff grabs it. His whole sick ritual hinges on that thing and hurls it overboard, the splash swallowed by the sea. Then she leaps after it, plunging into the cold black water, strokes strong towards the party lights, lungs burning with hope. But the drug hits full force. Midway, limbs numb, vision spotting at the edges. She sinks like a stone. Tucker hauls her back, sputtering and cursing, tying her down tighter than before. But without the camera, no footage, no shoot. He can't finish the job. Frustrated, he guns the boat toward shore for a replacement, leaving Jeff lashed in the hold, plotting her edge. The cops are mobilizing now, alerts out for the missing surfer girl, but her friend's gut won't quit. Uneasy, he slides into his car, hacking into the beach lot CCTV feeds on his laptop. There, frame by frozen frame, Tucker's truck idling next to Jeff's van, that garish Tucker Experience logo plastered on the side. A quick search pulls up the address, a weathered dock on the outskirts. He floors it, tires screeching, arriving as dusk bleeds into night. A muffled shout echoes from below. "Help! Down here!" And he kicks in the hatch, barreling down the stairs to find her bound but alive, eyes lighting up with shock and relief. "You... how? I left you. No clues. Impossible." He grins through the grime, breathless. "Told you. We cross paths for a reason." Joy flickers, but time's short. She nods urgently. "Up top. Grab something to cut these. Call the cops now." He nods as he climbs, but Tucker bursts from the shadows, snatching the phone mid-sentence and smashing it under his boot. A brutal fight erupts, fists flying, grunts and cracks echoing. Tucker's palming a knife, her friend landing a desperate haymaker. He gains the upper hand, throttling Tucker against the rail, veins bulging, when Tucker's clueless buddy ambushes from behind, clubbing him down. The guy didn't know, thought Tucker was just eccentric, not a monster, until Jeff's screams paint the picture clear. Too late, Tucker drives a hook through his skull, instant and gruesome, body slumping dead on the deck. No time to linger on shore. Tucker spooked, blood on his hands. He drags the body aboard, revs the engine, and cuts toward a remote island, mist-shrouded and empty. Jeff's friend wakes groggy in the hold, Ty beside her, lips parting to spill his heart. "Jeff, But Tucker's there, hauling them both topside. He's fixated. One kill for the tape, camera or no. First the guy, chucked overboard like bait, blood trail summoning the sharks in a frenzy. Then, with rope cinched tight, he dangles his friend into the chummed waters, fins circling inches away. But the agent's steady, remembering her words from the cage dive. No panic, no thrashing. He breathes even, eyes locked on hers, and the sharks glide past, uninterested. Tucker's livid, yanking him up dripping.
Fine, plan B. He slices shallow gashes across the guy's arms and chest, crimson blooming, then drops him back in. Survival odds plummet it now, blood culling the frenzy. But sirens whine faint, a chopper, sweeping the horizon for Jeff. Cursing, Tucker scrambles, bundling them below and retying. The agent's wounds oozing bad. His breathing's shallow, face ashen from blood loss, death's knocking close. Jeff's frantic, yanking at the cuffs till skin tears. Nothing. Desperate, she grits her teeth and crunches down, snapping her thumb with a sickening pop to slip the hand free. Pain explodes, white hot, but it sticks. No choice. She bites through the rest, blood flooding her mouth, severing it clean. Free at last, she staggers as Tucker descends, syringe raised. She feints left, dodges, and slams the hatch, bolting it from outside. His pounding echoes, "Let me out!" But he's crafty, slipping through a hidden panel minutes later. Jeff's at the wheel by then, gunning the engine, salt wind whipping her face. He lunges, killing the power with a savage yank. Systems dead, boat drifting. No escape. They clash in a whirlwind of punches and grapples, deck slick with sweat and blood. She breaks free, diving toward the island ahead. Music swells faint, a wedding in full swing on the sands. But her mangled hand throbs, blood trailing like a lure, and a shark's fin ghosts below. Tucker's pursuing in a dinghy, closing fast. She swims harder, strokes faltering, lungs screaming. Almost there, when his hand clamps her ankle, dragging her under. Rag over her face again, world fading black as he hauls her aboard, sputtering rage. "You're mine." He sees it now. The real threat's her, not the bleeding guy below. So he chairs the agent, weak and fading, and hoists Jeff in the harness, dangling precariously. That's when it breaches, a massive great white, shadow eclipsing the rest, scattering the smaller sharks like minnows. Tucker's eyes bulge, a mix of terror and ecstasy. The big one, my old friend from the attack. No time wasted, he cuts the rope, plunging her toward the jaws. But Jeff's calm floods back, steady breaths, no splash. And it circles once, massive eye locking hers, then submerges deep. Undeterred, Tucker jabs it with a spear from the rail, goading fury. The beast turns, lunging, not at her, but brushing close enough to snag the harness line. It snaps. Jeff tumbles free, splashing into the chaos. Face to face with the white, heart slamming. She floats still, bleeding hand pulsing, but it veers, vanishing below. Wait, a scar gleams on its flank. Old and vicious, twin to Tucker's tails. Not just any survivor, this shark's borne human scars too. The movie hammers it home. We're the dangerous beasts, hunting without mercy, blind to the innocents in fins and teeth. Emboldened, Jeff hauls herself aboard, dripping and fierce. She snatches the spear, driving it home. Tucker staggers, shock blooming red across his chest, then topples backward into the drink. The white surges up, jaws unhinging in a nightmare maw, clamping him whole. It thrashes once, twice, his screams bubbling to gurgles, devouring him in a froth of whitewater, the perfect, ironic tape, unfilmed but etched in blood. Jeff teeters on the edge, exhaustion pulling her under. She slips, splashing down. Her friend, watching helpless from below, chokes on a sob. "No, Jeff!" fearing the end. But she's iron, clawing back up one-handed, collapsing beside him. She tends his wounds as best she can, tourniquets from torn cloth, whispering fierce encouragements through the pain. Fumbling a flare gun, she fires it skyward, a red streak screaming for attention. The wedding boat spots it, veering close, shouts rising over the waves. They swarm aboard, hands pulling them to safety, medics swarming. Through sheer guts, Jeff has saved them both, her and the man fate threw her way. And with that breathless rescue, the story fades out on the horizon.